Important day for FIFA and world football today, with the world body's elections only an hour away or so. It is Sepp Blatter, four-time president, versus a rank newcomer, Prince Ali of Jordan. The elections have come under sharp focus and criticism after the recent corruption scandal blew up with many arrests. Sepp Blatter is standing for a fifth consecutive term, with Prince Ali bin Al Hussein of Jordan being his only challenger. Blatter is the overwhelming favourite still, despite battling a crisis with the latest corruption scandal and receiving flack for not doing enough. Apart from European nations, all members are expected to vote for him. Both Blatter and Prince Ali attended the FIFA Congress opening ceremony, during which Blatter made his first speech on the scandal and deflected blame.
These are unprecedented and difficult times for FIFA. I know many people hold me ultimately responsible for the actions and reputation of the global football community. We, or I, cannot monitor everyone all of the time. The next few months will not be easy for FIFA. It is necessary to begin to restore trust in our organization. Let this be the turning point.
Let me first of all explain how the FIFA elections actually work. Now, these are the two candidates, Sepp Blatter and Prince Ali bin Al Hussein, who's the FIFA vice president from Asia. The voting takes place in a secret ballot fashion. There are 209 members that comprise of the electoral body of the FIFA, the world football body. Now, in the first round, the candidate needs two-thirds majority of the votes of the members present to win the elections. Now, if nobody gets that majority, then you go into the second round. But in the second round, only a simple majority is required if the first round does not give you a winner. Let's take a look at what do the trends suggest, and several associations, even though this is a secret ballot, have come out and actually expressed who they will vote for. This is the world map. The red continents and countries signify those supporting Sepp Blatter, while the blue support Prince Ali as of now. So you can see North America, Caribbean, South America, Africa, Asia, that includes India as well, supporting Sepp Blatter. Only Europe and Australia and New Zealand, that come in Asia and Oceania groups respectively, are openly backing Prince Ali as of now. If you combine the 53 votes, if all European nations vote for Prince Ali, which is not likely, so maybe around 45 plus 2 of Australia and New Zealand, it only makes around less than 50 votes, which will not give Prince Ali a fighting chance in these elections. So Sepp Blatter, all set to become the president for a fifth consecutive term. Here's a confirmation. It is Sepp Blatter versus Prince Ali. The voting will begin very, very soon, and we're expecting the results of this voting to come out by 8:30 p.m. India time. Of course, this time is tentative. Voting could take longer, but Sepp Blatter all set to be elected for a fifth consecutive term. Let me go across to Shavik Naha, who's been keeping track of developments in Zurich. Shavik, what's the mood like in Zurich, and is Sepp Blatter's candidature almost fixed and confirmed? Is there any doubt at all that Prince Ali can mount a surprise on Sepp Blatter?
Hi, firstly, thanks for having me on the show. Zurich is a city of general indifference to anything, so one cannot gauge the mood of the public right now. But having spoken to the media persons who have arrived from all over the world in order to cover the event, it is very evident that it's very difficult indeed to replace Sepp Blatter as of now. Because even when we see that some of the votes are moving from Sepp Blatter's position, like the CONMEBOL countries, they have decided to vote not in favor of Sepp Blatter anymore. But that's just a matter of 10 votes against maybe 150 others. So I don't really think that anything is going to happen, and Sepp Blatter is all set to become the FIFA president for the next 4 years.
But it's interesting what you're mentioning, that South American countries, which strangely, despite being high-ranking football countries, only have 10 votes. They're all set to vote against Blatter. We remember Romario, one of the Brazilian legends, had come out and lashed out at Sepp Blatter yesterday, saying that he welcomes these investigations and hope that they make into Brazil to clean up the sport in South America. Shavik, stay with us. Let's also turn our attention to how India could vote. Like I mentioned, voting starts very soon, and like in the past, India is expected to back Blatter for a 5th term. India will vote as part of the Asian Football Confederation, which has a total of 46 votes. Indian Federation President Praful Patel is also one of the vice presidents of the Asian body. India and Asia historically have voted for Blatter and have good relations with the chief. India being awarded the FIFA Under-17 World Cup in 2017 is seen largely because of Blatter's backing. Now, despite Blatter's challenger Prince Ali bin Al Hussein hailing from the same region, the AFC along with the AIF had decided to back Blatter. Only Australia, which is part of the Asian Confederation, will back Ali, at least as far as open declarations are concerned. Important FIFA Congress and voting in Zurich. We spoke exclusively to All India Football Federation's President Praful Patel, who believes Sepp Blatter is all set to take office for the 5th consecutive term. Listen in.
There is, of course, a lot of apprehension and people doubting as to what exactly will be happening next. But what I can see is that in spite of all what has happened, the current incumbent Sepp Blatter is very much in the driver's seat. Nothing conclusive has come out of anything so far, and it's not right for us sitting at a distance or to pass any judgment. And I can tell you that it's not that about what happened is acceptable. Everybody's worried. We can't hold anybody responsible just for something which has happened, which may not be directly connected with the individual. So I think, we shouldn't be jumping the gun. I can tell you that what Blatter and other people have been able to speak to, including his opponent, Prince Ali of Jordan, that there is a lot of, worry about the game being, taken over by unscrupulous elements, and these kind of scandals are hurting the image of the game and FIFA itself. And we as Asia, we look at our interests, and I'm telling you, if there's corruption proven at that highest level, we'll certainly oppose it. I'll be the last person to back Blatter if he's proven to be corrupt or wrong, and I have not experienced it, so I can't speak without knowing the facts.
So despite the scandal, Sepp Blatter enjoys the support of most of the electoral members. He's the most powerful man in football, perhaps ever, all set to be re-elected for a 5th term. But before the all-important election, let's take a look at who exactly is Sepp Blatter.
Sepp Blatter has been at the helm of FIFA for the past 17 years now. Blatter has risen to the top of world football despite not playing the game professionally. His first role with FIFA came 4 decades ago as technical director, and after 2 further positions in FIFA, Blatter became FIFA's 8th president in 1998. Blatter may be the most recognized man in world football administration, but barely does the mention of his name make people raise their eyebrows. In 2004, Blatter quoted widespread anger after saying female footballers should wear tighter shorts. He was also unpopular for refusing to use goal line technology for long, which received a lot of criticism after Frank Lampard's ghost goal in the 2010 World Cup. Allegations of financial mismanagement and the latest corruption charges on FIFA officials has further dented his image and credibility. Blatter may be controversy's own child, but knows how to lead a group and has the backing of most football associations around the globe. And despite the opposition, Blatter is certain to be chosen as the president once again. Sports Bureau, India Today.
Just what makes FIFA President Sepp Blatter so powerful that despite this scandal, not many are willing to go against him? Let's take that to our experts. Shavik Naha, continues to be with us from Zurich, and Arunava Chaudhary is joining us from Berlin. Arunava, what do you think is the appeal of Sepp Blatter that despite this scandal, world bodies couldn't unite against him?
The reality is that if you take Europe out of the equation, is that Sepp Blatter and FIFA is doing a lot for football around the world, especially in Africa and in Asia. India is one of the biggest beneficiaries of FIFA over the last 5 years, not only financially but also in regard to manpower and learning, what football is all about.
Right.
So that is something which one should not forget. And I've worked in the Caribbean myself, so I know a little bit about the mood and the psyche in the West Indies when it comes to football. FIFA has done a lot of good things, but yes, there are certain rotten apples, and that needs to be cleared for FIFA to really move on.
Shavik, what's the feeling amongst those who have collected for the Congress in Zurich? Do they see Sepp Blatter as someone who's done a lot of good for world football, or as a controversial figure who's refusing to accept responsibility and perhaps, was at the helm when all of the corruption was taking place?
Most of the representatives of the foreign football associations who have arrived in Zurich for supporting, they all think that Sepp Blatter has got a clean sheet because his name has not surfaced in any of the allegations. And they are placing their full faith behind Sepp Blatter. So, of course, Sepp Blatter has the faith of many football personnel from all over the world.
But they don't see him as someone who should accept responsibility for what has happened in the world body.
For that matter, say that it depends on the FIFA on how to tackle this kind of issue. Sepp Blatter is just the front person of FIFA. So he is at the helm of power, but still it's a collective responsibility that they're talking about.
Right, and obviously if there was ever any blame put on the president itself, Arunava, that would be quite bad for FIFA, isn't it? They would like to avoid that.
Well, that's the situation as it stands at the moment. Everyone else is being blamed. Mr. Blatter has stayed clean so far. That's the main thing at the moment. And there are other cross connections as well in world football. I think a very good example is Michel Platini's son works for the Qataris. So, there is a certain pressure in there, but if Blatter falls, a lot of people in world football are going to be in trouble, and that's why no one is willing to touch it.
Absolutely. He reminds us a lot of N. Srinivasan in cricket, in Indian cricket or world cricket here in India. But let's also talk about the other side. Jordanian Prince Ali is challenging Sepp Blatter for FIFA's top post. He's widely regarded as the man who works for change, and he has the backing of UEFA quite openly. Here's a look at his profile. Prince Ali is the third son of King Hussein in the Jordanian royal family. A graduate from Royal Military Academy Sandhurst, he has also served in the Jordanian Armed Forces. Prince Ali has forged his reputation in football administration as a force of change in the sport. He was the founding member of West Asian Football Association, and in March 2012, he successfully moved to lift FIFA's ban on the hijab. This move made him very popular in the region. The current FIFA Vice President of Asia is going head-to-head against Sepp Blatter.
I think that we all agree that it is time now for a change, to have a FIFA, transparent FIFA, to work on the sport.
For European associations, Prince Ali is an overwhelming favourite to start a new era in FIFA.
Moi qui suis cela depuis quelques années, je suis dépité. Je suis écœuré. Et j'en ai marre.
We have decided to stand behind Prince Ali. I wouldn't say unanimously, but with a big majority.
Numbers though suggest he'll have to wait before he can take over the world's biggest sport body. Sports Bureau, India Today. Arunava, we all know about the bickering between UEFA and FIFA. Historically, these are bodies that have fought and are rivals of sorts. But would it be safe to say that in Prince Ali, they have found a man that can be their candidate for years to come?
No, I don't think so. I think the problem is that no one from Europe was willing to take the plunge and lose against Blatter. They were looking for someone who could have a certain chance if his own confederation stood behind him. But Prince Ali has not even got one vote from Asia so far except Jordan. So that's the situation as it stands. Michel Platini didn't dare to stand against Mr. Blatter. And Van Praag at the end, Luis Figo, all of them dropped out because they realized that they would lose, and that would harm their long-term interest in football and in FIFA and in the US as well.
All right, final question to Shovik, who is in Zurich. Shovik, we're expecting the results to come around 8:30 p.m. India time, just over 45 minutes from now or so. Can you tell us about what the plan is after that?
After that, the incumbent president is going to address the media in a big press conference and maybe handshakes and a cocktail party.
All right, Shovik Naha and Aruna Chaudhary, thanks a lot for joining us and putting the two candidates in perspective for our viewers.